Okay, so I decided to stamp out these honeybee poinsettias, and I'm going to use a red version here and color this up for you. So basically, I'm going in with my Ahuhu markers because I absolutely love them, and they work well with mixing them in with Spectrum Noirs and tonic markers. So they work really well with all of those brands. And they're less expensive. So I'm going through here, and in this version I am going through and doing each leaf or petal, even though poinsettias are all leaves, and I'm pretty much doing an outline with different levels of red. So here I'm putting in a mid-tone. I end up using about 4-5 reds, and then also something else at the end. So I'll show you that once we get to that section. But I just want to go over with these different levels of red and put in the darker areas and then blend those out. So here it looks very, stark and spot on. But as you keep adding your color, it makes it look so much better. And so I'm going in again where it would be darkest. So in my mind, when I'm looking at this flower, it's going to be darkest towards the center, obviously, because you would have less light there as far as the way I'm having it in my head. And then anything underneath of something else is going to be darker. So this leaf here is darker in the center, and then I'm sort of looking at it as there's dark in the center and my light is coming more from the top, I guess, so that the bottom parts of the leaves are always going to be darker regardless of what level they're on. I also wanted to make note that notice that as I'm working on this, I'm turning the paper. I've seen a lot of coloring videos or people with questions about coloring, and they tend to leave their paper just static on the on the desk or surface. But what you can do is just switch your paper around, and it makes coloring so much easier. So the only thing you do have to worry about is if you're doing your shading, you have to be careful, like, where am I? Am I upside down or what? Because that'll change where you put your darks. But otherwise, just keep rotating your paper so that it's easier to get into the areas that you want to color. I really want to try, who is it? Totally Tiffany's rotating coloring board. I'm interested in trying that. I wish somebody out there, would send me one as far as like, hey, demonstrate our product. Yes, sure. But anyway, I digress. So here again, you can see I'm using that darker red to go over the veins, and everything that is on the bottom is getting that coat of dark. And I want to say this is a number 1 that I'm using in the Ohuhu set. And you'll also notice it's not as smooth yet. But as you add your layers and then you go over them, it becomes smoother and smoother. Now you can also do very block style, but so once again, those areas on the bottom are getting that darker color. Excuse me. So now I'm going over it with a lighter color again, just to help smooth out the blend. I love coloring. It just is so relaxing. You just spend hours doing it. So once again, we're adding the dark to the other side of the leaves, and these are definitely on the bottom, so more of those of the surface will actually be in shadow, so therefore it gets a darker color. And as you keep adding the layers and so forth, you can see how much definition is now in your flower. Another thing you can do, which I did not do in this video, is actually go back with like, you could do a red marker, like a red Sharpie. You could also do maybe a black Sharpie and go over some of the lines like with a sketchy touch, and that'll kind of bring back the veins. So what I am doing here, and I've shown this in a video before, is when you want to add depth to the color, you can switch to gray. So you can see that from the cap, I'm using a darker gray here, and I'm going into the areas where I want it to be very dark, okay? You can even go so far as to go black, but then you have a really harsh line with that black. So it's better to use grays. And it just makes it pop off of the page even more. It gives it more of a 3D effect, and it deepens the red colors that you have on there. And you can do this with pretty much any color. And the great thing about alcohol markers, of course, is you can always go back over it with your lighter colors. And that helps to bleach out items. So that's what I'm doing here. I took a red and went back over it, and you can see how much depth you get from that. Now I'm just going to go ahead and put some little yellow bits in the center. I'm going to do some three layer coloring again, but it's very, very quick pieces, just so you can get a highlight. Now when I go back and use this on a project, then I'll actually probably put some like glitter and white gel pen and so forth on it to give it highlight areas. I wanted to show that you could do the exact same thing with a different color. So this one I've already colored up in this peach color, which I love for poinsettias. So pretty. And I used 3 tones there. Actually, I used 4. And so here I've pulled out another gray. Now this gray is dark, but it's lighter than the gray for the red because you don't need as dark of a gray because these colors are so light. Now it's kind of scary when you first start because it looks very like, whoa, what is that line? See how harsh the lines are? However, once you start, then you can see how it lightens it up. So I've actually gone and switched to a lighter gray. So there's 2 levels of gray here. And it helps it to blend out into that other lighter color. It's just another way to give your pictures and your images another level of depth. I love it. Again, we're going to go into the center and give it a yellow center with your various layers. And then that's just how you can see the 2 different ways to use gray. So first I made a 5x7. And I just love that. It's so cute. This is some paper by Pink Paisley. And then you can see where I put those elements together to create a little bouquet. And I use some sparkle pen from Nouveau. So it's all over there. And then there's one of the sentiments from the stamp set. And then on the inside, I layered it with the same paper and one of the holly pieces. Now I might go back and put a sentiment here or just leave it for writing. So there's one. And then the second one is this one. Love it. So I use the sentiments again. May your days be merry and bright. So this one is a A2 size card. And you can see all the sparklies. I should have put those in embossing powder, but I couldn't find it. And then here's the inside. And I might put another sentiment or just leave it that way. So those are my 2 cards for the Not Too Shabby shop using the Honeybee Pretty Poinsettias. Oh, I love the Honeybee. Yes, yes, yes. So between Honeybee and LDRS, lovely. All right, thanks for watching, you guys. I hope you guys had a safe week and are going to have a safe weekend. Also, if I do not see you for another video between now and Christmas, Merry Christmas, and you guys be safe.